Hello, it's Winston George Tannis, Doctor and Chief Justice and Co-Secretary General Winston George Tannis, providing an address today on this latest Sunday in the month of March of the year 2024. It is made in combination with the global WG circular that will traverse across the entire planet, and I will create a part 2 to this part 1 that involves me in reading that address in speech-like manner to all of my viewers and all those who take an interest in world affairs and global peace. I will address a number of matters, and quickly and in cryptic but poignant fashion today, and I'll begin on excess ethnocentrism in America, Canada, Europe, and elsewhere. That is, once again, excess ethnocentrism, which is not the right or advanced direction for the world, and certainly myopic, deficient, predatory, lacking in enlightenment, conniving, short-sighted, and one of the worst features of both democracy and other forms of government. Think objectively and fairly upon human potential, upon which I am expert, and think of the new global society amidst many UN members. If this matter is not addressed properly, then the world at large will fall into deeper peril, one region after another. The governors of any jurisdiction must be fair, dignified, just, dynamic, and future-minded. There is really no choice if you understand the current dynamics and power structures and bodies of the world. My visions for America and the world as an American, new American, Asian American, and global citizen, scientist, and socio-political, judicious, diplomatic leader are clear. I continue to set them out in very clear fashion, these visions for a world regressing at this moment in time. That is what this other short address and others by me, and in writing, and via globally broadcast addresses, embraces, and with due non-predatory expertise, both scientific and philosophical, let alone as saturated by years of study and practice upon global leadership itself. I've been a global leader for that long, and with a scientific and learned judicial background. If I've made any error in the last number of years, I apologize, and that error is excess humility on my part, and that has been preyed upon by my lesser opponents in peace-oriented diplomatic thinking. These opponents, and from many sectors, legal, diplomatic, political, business, commercial, economic, are patently, upon objective review and assessment, lesser skilled, lesser minded, lesser visionaries, less capacitated as leaders to steward America, Canada, Asia, and the entire world order, including all of the members of the United Nations. I shall not allow America, New America, Asia, and Europe, and other parts of the world to drift into a bad and reckless spell, that is right, when I know of the greater citizenship capacities of all, right across these areas, and the whole of the planet today. and my voice will only become more pronounced in the days, years, and decades ahead. For my commitment as global leader is that firm, that just, that competent, and in need of such intensifying qualities. That's right, I must intensify my global leadership efforts, and I shall not. I promise I shall not relent. I will not stand back humbly any longer as historic, political, diplomatic, global affairs genius, for such posture can become a deep sin, a deep error, an abdication from the responsibilities of both true genius and leadership. The good, the goodness, as existential phenomenon remains alive, but is at risk due to predatory politicians, military, diplomatic, and social leaders, let alone from the business and economic communities. And I will not allow for such downfall of this important phenomenon of the whole of the planet, and as a true metaphysical and critical ontological phenomenon at real risk. I am not a mere political scientist, nor a mere lawyer or judge, nor a mere legal sociologist, but as well and in combination a true and competent and award-winning philosopher, theologian, and historian, and I speak to these matters as a due expert who has put in the time to arrive at such expertise. These are compounding variables upon an assessment of my leadership vision, mind, heart, and soul. These credentials make this statement very, very important and part of my daily work as scientist, philosopher, in combination with my daily duties as diplomatic, judicial, and political leader across the vastness, that is, across the vastness of an entire planet. I am not local and national or continental or hemispheric in my pronouncements. And as I've mentioned before, I approach things as a true professional in world affairs with due polymath experience, knowledges, all of relevant kinds, a global leader, and on historic scales, which explains to you why I'm in over 7 categories of the global and American and Asian who's who, and with all these credentials in mind so you can place proper weight on my words through speeches and in writing, and during this critical phase in United Nations and global history, with the planet itself at risk of incredible harm. In part 2 of today's broadcast, in connection with this, as part 1, I will read in the form of a speech and address the global circular of today that traverses the entire planet, and I encourage you to tune in to that as well. Thank you for your time. It is Dr. Winston George Tannis in all of his capacities, including my capacity as Global Chief Justice of historic kind, as Secretary General by de jure coup, and for Beacon Watch International, let alone the United Nations. I wish you a good Sunday no matter where you are in the world, and no matter what faith makes this a day of rest for you or a day of work, and ideally always with a sense of goodness, the good, responsibility, dignity for yourselves, and dignity for all of those who surround you. Thank you.